Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, September 4, 2022. This is a new YouTube channel for me. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. Episode 387, Jim Willie and Alex Collier regarding Nasara Jessara, prosperity money, and 2022. Some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot subscribers, Dabu77, Reality 365, Alex Collier, Elijah Streams, interview, Steve Schultz interviewing Patel, Patriot, Jim Willie, Suspicious Observers, Wages of the World, Megan Rose, and others. And some of the things we'll be covering. A list of documents taken from Mar-a-Lago, a plane stolen in Tupelo to crash into a Walmart. I have my own assessment of that. Russia to begin its own Moscow gold exchange. An update on Ukraine. What's happening with the sun and a geomagnetic storm to impact us today. Prosperity money 2 and 2022. And I'd like to say welcome to all 50 states, including Alaska, Hawaii, and the First Nations, Cherokee, Navajo, Hopi, Chickasaw, Mohawk, Apache, First Nation, Pitt River in California, Mohegans, Yakama Nation in Washington State, Potawatomi in the Midwest, Oklahoma, Ojibwe Nation in northern Minnesota, proud people who want peace and justice, Choctaw, Abenaki Tribe, Cheyenne, Massanutten, Pequot, Blackfoot, in Montana, Spokane and Colville, Powhatan, Seminoles in Florida, Red Crow Tribe in Kentucky, Salt River Tribe in Arizona. And I'd like to say welcome back to the nations of Canada, England, France, Ireland, Philippines, South Africa, Netherlands, Indonesia, Scotland, Germany, Switzerland, New Zealand, Maldives, Nepal, Norway, Australia, Chile, Thailand, Belgium, Mexico, Brazil, Russia, Panama, Guam, U.S. territory, Jamaica, Spain, an Icelander living in Spain and other people in Spain, Wales in the U.K., Sweden, Italy, Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory, Romania, Bermuda, Bahamas, British territories, Morocco, Argentina, Northern Marianas Island, a U.S. territory, Denmark, Bolivia, Uganda, Iceland, Serbia, Bulgaria, Mauritius, a small island nation off of Africa, and the newest, Ukraine, the Czech Republic, Poland, Costa Rica, Malta, China, Hungary, Israel, Finland, Crimea, and the newest, Palau. It's a small island nation in the Pacific Ocean away from Australia. So, let's get started. I have some Patriot subscribers who are talking about the dirty nukes, and says other sources say there are still 3 dirty nukes somewhere in the U.S. Okay, I'll have to pray about that. Patriot subscriber, there's 3 types of popes, black, gray, and white. And I've heard that. I knew the black pope was the designation for the leader of the Jesuits. And I'm assuming the white pope is the one designated as the leader of the Catholic Church, and I'm not sure about the gray, who that's a leader of. Okay, I have a Patriot subscriber, talking about the Liberty Group in Idaho. Yeah, she knew about them. All right, that's the one that Benjamin Fulford, the Canadian journalist who's been living in Japan for decades, recently said he finished his 2-week vacation in Canada and he didn't know if he was going to return to Japan or join the Liberty Group in Idaho. So inquiring minds definitely want to know what's going on in Idaho. I have a Patriot subscriber who says Jubilee's coming up soon, and there's 2 different calendars. One is Gregorian calendar, and the date would be September 24, but if we go by the Bible calendar, it'll be September 29. Well, whatever. We'll enjoy it when it gets here for sure. I have a Patriot subscriber. Yeah, this is the one who said that Tim Thibault with the FBI, he didn't resign, he was fired. Yeah. Okay, and I have a Patriot subscriber in Georgetown, which is north of Austin, and on September the 2nd, she was reporting, yeah, I'm seeing very large military helicopters in a square formation over our town. I have a Patriot subscriber who says, in the winter of 2021 in Spring, Texas, and Spring is north of Houston, their lowest temperature was 11 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be a minus 12 Celsius. And then on that recent video, we had that information from Mike from around the world that this coming winter of 2022-2023 is likely to see in the Texas 2 times as cold weather as we had in 2021. So yeah, our infrastructure, we need to be praying for protection from God. Okay. Now I have Reality 365 is bringing out information about documents taken from the raid in Mar-a-Lago. And what he's coming out with, he's saying there's a lot of magazines and a lot of newspaper clippings. And they're in boxes designated as secret, confidential, and so on. I submit to you that President Trump and his people knew the FBI were coming. I mean, they even had Navy SEALs offering to repel the FBI, but President Trump didn't want to spill blood in that instance. So, yeah. And when the FBI came in, they said, oh, turn off all those cameras and everybody is under arrest here. And there's no authority to do that. What they didn't know was that, of course, President Trump has access to technology from the Space Force, so they had multiple layers of cameras, including the military-grade cameras that can see through walls. So, yeah, they did record the FBI people like saying, oh, look at this, take papers out of their pocket. Look at this, I just found it here. Not realizing that, yeah, they were still being recorded. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot coming out about this. Now, this list that 365 put out, newspaper clippings and magazines, and I submit this was a setup by President Trump and his people, and they packed these boxes and labeled it secret and confidential that related to classified subjects that were secret and confidential. But they were putting out related newspaper clippings and magazines for those subjects. So yeah, oh my gosh. All right. Now we'll have some information from Jim Willie, PhD economist, lives in Costa Rica. Okay. He was recently interviewed by Howe Street on Beforeitsnews, and he's talking about people to be eliminated. That would be by the deep state. That was the deep state's plan by the summer of 2022. Somehow or another, I don't see that plan working out at all. Now, Jim is talking about Germany, and we know their economy is on the brink now, and all of Europe is facing, because there's sanctions against Russia, downturns in their availability of oil and gas for heating and cooking and other things. And Jim is saying that, we had that incident in 2020, that global incident, and he's saying stage 1, everything was supposed to be finished by 2030, but then they moved it up to 2025 And they had that event in 2020, a reduction in human population. But it didn't work out. Now, he's saying that CNN is down about 80% in their views. And they're currently being supported by the JB government. Jim Willie says the emergency broadcast system is coming soon. This is the way Jim operates when he's talking, and he puts little nuggets in the middle of other topics. Okay. And he's saying that certain individuals, are doubles or clones, and we've come to realize that now, that many of the people we see on TV are not the real people. And Jim Willie says this, and Benjamin Fulford's also made comments about this. Okay, we have Jim Willie talking about the military is going to move up definitely by November. That's 2022. And he's saying that the deep state is actively working against different conservative mega candidates in different states by just removing them from the ballot. Okay. Now he's commenting on Ann Hesh. Yeah, he believes my assessment of it, that it could have been the CIA, I think that's QFX device that takes over vehicles. But he's bringing up this new information about Paul Walker. And he says Paul was the blonde that starred in the Fast and Furious series. And Paul found out some things, and he was in a car that blew up a few years ago. Okay, he discovered some things going on in Hollywood involving young humans, as Ann Hesh also did. All right, now, Jim is talking about Ukraine. And we know that taking down Ukraine by Russia, who is a white hat, part of the alliance, is a necessary step in bringing the deep state down on a global basis. So this is happening, and Russia going in, taking out those biolabs and the banks and other things. So they're taking over money laundering avenues for the deep state. So they're losing their money and other things that they were doing in Ukraine, like trafficking. Russia is there to clean up. All right. Now, Jim is saying this. He says last December 2021 that export nations began refusing the U.S. dollar, and also we had in Long Beach special forces, U.S. military, using infrared devices to see inside containers from the CCP, and many of them showed trafficking of young humans who were being held, and other hostages, and also missiles. So yeah, those weren't allowed to land in the U.S. And as for the young humans, they weren't still living. So they sent them back to the CCP. Okay, Jim, EBS soon. Says it again. All right. U.S. And Canada. Yeah, Canada is holding up turbines. We know that relates to the Russian pipeline in Europe. So, yeah, they're running down on some, taking down the availability of oil and gas for Europe through Canada, who makes the turbines to go to Germany to be put on the Russian pipeline there. Circuitous. Okay. Jim Woolley says that Moscow is now beginning their own gold exchange, and they're going to begin selling gold at 2,400, and London will have it at 1,800. All right. And he's also predicting soon 2 big events, QFS, Masara, Jassara. All right. Now we'll do an update on Ukraine. And my sources for this will be Atlas and a military summary. So let me draw you a map. We have Luhansk, Donetsk. This is the Donbass area, the primary frontline area. And we know we have a front line that's something like 900 miles and kilometers, and maybe that figure will come to me. Okay, so we have Crimea, Odessa, Kherson, Mykolaiv, Nikopol, Zaporizhzhia. We've got here some major cities, Izium, Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Silvernesk, Bakhmut. These are some primary battlefields. We've got Russia is on this side, and Rostov, Russia. They have their 3rd Corps, which is 40 to 60,000 total in troops and equipment. All right. And what Atlas is saying is that Ukraine had mounted a counteroffensive in Kherson a few days ago, and it's now like stopped. So Russia has taken out a lot of their soldiers and equipment. Military summary is saying in Ukraine, in Kherson, Ukraine had several bridges, pontoon bridges, and Russia has taken them all out. In the Donbass area, we had several updates on different Ukraine groups. Ukraine 93rd, 120 soldiers were killed, 11 vehicles taken. In the Ukraine 95th, 100 soldiers were killed and 14 vehicles taken. Also in this area, somewhere around here, Russia took out a HIMARS depot, and they killed 30 soldiers and took out the HIMARS that were located in that area. Now Russia in Silvernesk and Bakhmut today on September 3rd is storming. They had stopped in this area for about a week. Russia had to allow their troops to rest, and they also brought in reinforcements. Now today they're storming. Helicopters, artillery, infantry. Okay. Now, it's believed that this 3rd Corps, 40 to 60,000 Russians, are going to be moving to this Donbass area next week. So we'll have to tune in and see what's going to be happening there. Now, we'll move on to E-News. Okay, E-News. This has to do with our electronics and different things going on. My sources on this are Suspicious Observers, a science-based space weather program, and Wages of the World, the same. So we've had sun activity, and we have solar storms coming off of the sun. We have a G2, that's a geomagnetic storm that would affect the Earth, and it affects our electrical grid. It affects our electronics, of course, and it affects satellites, It affects Space Force and also radio. So we can expect today and probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, because usually those that coronal mass ejection solar storm comes off the sun and reaches us over a period of several days. So this G2 storm can affect these things. So today, if you have problems with any of your devices, it might be because of the G2 storm. We can also see the aurora, which is electromagnetic energy in the air that causes different colors in the sky. We usually see it in the polar areas, but because of different events going on the earth, we can see it as low as New York, Wisconsin, and Washington State. So yeah, Mike from around the world had said, yeah, when you start to see the auroras coming in these lower areas, understand there's going to be sun-earth changes coming. All right, now, also associated with the coronal mass ejection is an increase in intensity and frequency of earthquakes. So we have Africa, we've got South America, we have a tectonic plate in the ocean, and we had just last night a 6.9 earthquake. So yeah, and it was in 2020 that God said, pay attention to the earth is heating up because of pressures on a celestial space object coming in, and inside the earth it's heating up and the magma's rising, and it's going to be rising along the tectonic plates. So you're going to see an increase in strength and intensity and depth of the earthquakes, and that's what we're seeing. Yeah, God knows everything. All right, now a heads up. All right, this is my take on something we heard in the news. This was Dabu 77 reporting this about a man, and his name is Corey Patterson, 29 years old, Tupelo, Mississippi. Yesterday, stole a plane, and he was going to crash it into a local Walmart. And after several hours, his family was on the phone with him, and he sounded calm. He didn't sound, hysterical or anything, and they were able to talk him down. I submit to you, I believe that God and his family praying and other people who were able to talk him down, because he wasn't a licensed pilot. He didn't know how to operate the plane. I submit to you this was a CIA test for an individual who may have been triggered. And I know that Gene Decode had said on a global basis we have one per block. So that's a lot. I'm stating, and it's my perception, this may have been the case with this young man. That was my immediate thought. And I give the credit to God. So, yeah, that's going on. So heads up. And prayer does work. So anytime you hear anything on the news you don't like, pray against it. Absolutely. Okay. Sci-Fi. Now this is Megan Rose as of September 1. She's bringing a message from the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and they're talking about a fourth density tech device that looks like a Rubik's Cube, and you can operate it and apparently affect different frequencies. Now she's talking about China having underground, the CCP, pods, clones of humans, and that they are trying to hook up to an AI computer and trying to take a soul and put it into a robot or clone body, which does not work, and that the white hats are on top of this situation, taking this down, and the white hats are also going to be taking down the three-letter agencies. And I submit in that previous news article about the young man who stole the plane to crash it into a Walmart, I thought that was a CIA operation. So yeah, take over that frequency and programming for those three-letter agencies. Now, so she's saying, yes, the Galactic Federation of World is working with the Earth Alliance, and they're dismantling, taking down the frequency of three-letter agencies. And the Space Force is working on the moon, and they are teaching other individuals in the U.S. Multiple militaries and governments different things about Space Force and space energy. So that's going on, and the objective is to dismantle the deep state. And she's correct. We overcome fear with love. That's right. Love is the greatest force in all of creation. Okay, now let's move ahead to be happy. This has to do with Elijah Streams, and that's hosted by Steve Schultz, and he interviewed Patel, Patriot, who brought out this this information from Patel, Patriot. President Trump inaugurated in 2022. So we're right there. We have a few more months to go, so be happy. Let's look ahead to that. All right, let's look ahead. All right, look ahead. This will be information from Alex Collier. Alex has about a 30-year experience as a speaker and contactee with the Pleiadians, I believe. All right. So he's saying the deep state has no ET help at this time because the Alliance, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Intergalactic Confederation have gotten rid of the Alpha Drakes, reptilians, and other hostile and evil species on this earth. Now, Elena Kopulnik, and I think I had another source, said there's still a few deep down in the underground. We're gonna get them, for sure. And the people on earth, of course, we have God and angels looking out for us. Now, Alex Collier is giving a time frame, 8 years to 2030, and he's also talking about timelines. And he says there were multiple timelines, but they merged in 2012. Now in 2012, December 21, 2012 was, according to the Mayan hieroglyphics, going to be the end. Some people interpreted it as the end of the world, but modern archaeologists were interpreting it as being the end of an age, which is accurate. Also in 2012, we learned recently the U.S. military was going to come along with a situation to impact our government. But that didn't happen because President Trump said he would run in 2016. So, now, yeah, and so Alex Collier is saying, yeah, for 30 years they've been putting those chemtrails on us, and dumping batteries in the oceans, and poisoning everything. And he's saying the people in states, the people form states and then form government. It's not the other way around. So people are to be in charge of our governments, absolutely. He's saying the deep state plan was to take down the human population by 90%. And that's not acceptable to other species. God, well, definitely God and other species. No. So now he's talking about the financial system, Nasara Jasara. There's going to be a collapse of the fiat currency, the US dollar, and all the money is being pulled out. We had other sources I've done. It's being pulled out now by the Vatican Bank from private banks. It has to be back in the Vatican Bank by September 30. And he's talking about Nasara Jasara coming on, as was Jim Woolley, also mentioning that. And that, the prosperity money, according to Gene Decode, was supposed to be, and Benjamin Fulford has also brought out this information. On a global basis, for each adult, $100,000 per year. So, with all that gold and trillions and trillions of dollars, and also in the United States, people on Social Security and disability, that is supposed to increase 3 times up to $5,000 per month. So yeah, that's coming. And it sounds like it's coming soon. And we say, bring it, Father. And Alex Collier's talking about, Nasara Jasara had been in place, and the deep state kept doing different things to stop it. We had the assassination of President Kennedy in '63. We had 9/11. All right. But now the evil ones are primarily off of the earth. There are still some deep state minions we, the people, need to take out. So, and we're on the right timeline. So, I say look ahead, and let's thank God for all these blessings coming to us, and understand it is God who is orchestrating all of this. He doesn't like evil. Okay, here's a cleansing prayer modeled by Gene Decode. We remove permission to be in us, on us, around us, on earth, off world, any dimension, any person, place, or thing not of God. Any assemblage of fallen angels, AI, nanobot, and other forms of tech, any non-terrestrial species, spirit, thought form, operating system, genetic overlay, past, present, and future. Now this prayer is based on the Passion Translation, Isaiah chapters 2-5. And we say, come, our God, who is the commander of the angel armies. And says, Yah, commander of the angel armies, to the defiant. They publicly flaunt their sins like Sodom. Woe to their souls, to those who still have souls. I, Yah, reassure my righteous people, you will enjoy rewards for your deeds. Woe to the guilty, they will get what they deserve. Yah comes and issues guilty verdicts. And you have the righteous Yah to crush the enemies of Yah's sons and daughters. The Lord has washed and cleansed his people and his earth by the spirit of justice and by a spirit of mourning. We say, God bless America and all nations of his upon the earth. And we thank you, Father, Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there. Continue to pray. God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.